Welcome back to BWC Arma 3 helicopter tutorial series. My name is Sparrowtail, and in this video we will be talking about how to navigate your default heads-up display or HUD. First, on the top left corner of your screen is the name of the vehicle. In this case, it's the UH-60M. Below this is the white line indicating the fuel status of your heli. If your fuel tank is compromised, the helicopter will rapidly lose fuel. We all know what happens then. Next are the damage status icons on the top left corner of your screen. These 6 icons display the repair or damage status of different helicopter components. As you can imagine, some of the components are critical, while others not so much. First up is the hull. Hull represents the overall status of your helicopter. This is analogous to the health of your vehicle. If the hull is destroyed, then your helicopter will explode. Next is the engine. Pretty self-explanatory. No engine, no flying. If the engine is destroyed, the helicopter must be auto-rotated to ensure the safety of the crew. A tutorial on auto-rotation is provided further down in the playlist. After that comes the INST, which stands for Instruments. For some reasons, the RHS Blackhawk doesn't respond to instrument damage, and all instruments work 100% fine with even 100% damage. Given the situation, instruments are arguably the least critical systems. Next up, we have the ATRQ, which is the tail rotor or the anti-torque rotor. This is the component that prevents your helicopter from spinning out of control due to the torque created by main rotor. A tutorial on how to fly and land with a tail rotor failure is provided further down in the playlist. After this, we have the MROT, or the main rotor. Again, quite self-explanatory. We need this for a helicopter to keep flying. After the hull, main rotor failure is perhaps the most catastrophic situation. Auto-rotation is extremely difficult, as your main rotor stops responding to raise or lower collective commands. If an incoming missile is detected, the helicopter must be positioned so as to avoid compromising the main rotor. Finally, we have the SLG, or the sling. Sling is the only component that is not actively used in normal helicopter operation, and is only used for slinging or carrying vehicle. A tutorial on slinging is provided further down in the playlist. White status means that your mechanism status is anywhere between 0% to 32% damaged. Orange status means that between 33 to 65% damage has occurred. While red means 66 to 100% damage. It is common to mistake white status to mean 100% okay and red to mean completely dead. As you can see here, I'm flying with pretty much all critical mechanisms in red status, because they're all still functional but have taken severe damage. As soon as you see any of the mechanisms' color change from white to orange, get your helicopter repaired ASAP, even if non-critical component like a sling or the instrument is orange or red. It could mean that something critical like your engine on main rotor could also be damaged up to 32%. Next up, we have the altitude and the speed indicators. The one on the top is the speed indicators in kilometers per hour, and the one at the bottom is the altitude. For normal operations, it is recommended that the altitude be kept under 50 meters to avoid or significantly delay detection of your aircraft. On the bottom, we have the indicators whether a particular component is active or not. The common ones across all helicopters are the engine on-off, the auto hover on-off, main light on off, and the collisions light on off. Some helicopters, like this one, have the ability to sling load objects, and that is denoted by the hook icons. Some helicopters have the ability to retract the landing gears, and that is denoted by a circular icon. Next up, on the very top, we have a helicopter radar system. This is a very important display that lets you know the position and the type of vehicles around your helicopter. A square means a ground vehicle. Triangle means air vehicle. A gray color indicates inactive vehicle. Red indicates enemy vehicle, and green indicates friendly vehicle. The inner ring indicates a range of approximately 1.2 kilometers, while the outer ring indicates a range of 5 kilometers. Going to the top right, we see a flare count indicator that lets us know how many flares we have. In this case, we have 168 flares. The flares are dumped by the default button C for Charlie and are used for the purpose of defeating lock-on missiles. Note that dumping flares does not guarantee missile evasion, and a good pilot knows to make proper maneuvers at the same time of dumping flares to maximize the chances of defeating a missile. At the bottom, we have weapon capabilities of our vehicle. And this is where different helicopter HUDs will start looking different. An attack chopper, for example, will denote the ammo count and the type of weapon, as well as whether the weapon is single fire or full auto, along with the flare indicator. At the bottom, you can see what kind of weapon is selected by the gunner. Next, let's head into the cockpit instruments. Now obviously the instruments in here will vary greatly depending on which helicopter you're using. But the one instrument that all helicopters have in common is the pitch indicator. This is an important indicator, especially when you need to keep your helicopter level with the ground, or if you need to know how much your helicopter is pitching. This can be useful, for example, when you're flaring off speed when coming in for landings and want to know how much you've pitched back. And after this, the common instruments are the altitude indicator, and the bearing indicator. Feel free to experiment around with different choppers to get used to different cockpits. Finally, when you use the scroll wheel, you'll see several interactive options that are pretty self-explanatory. This concludes our HUD tutorial. Thank you for watching and safe skies.